This last image that I'm going to edit has a lot of fun things going on in it. Some things that you first notice, like I look at a picture and I evaluate it. From the truck down, it's too dark. From the sky up, it's too light. I don't know if a flash was used. It doesn't look like it was, but a fill flash would have probably corrected that completely. But it's okay because, of course, you can correct everything in post. I'm going to make the sky a little darker. I'm going to add some filters to add some color to it. It'll make it awesome. This truck has a lot of fun textures, so I'm going to do a really fun edit on that using a little bit of HDR. And then we'll edit her. We'll smooth out her skin. You can see she's got like a tan line situation going on right here, so we'll even that out and we'll lighten up her face and remove blemishes and what have you. It's a silly image. It's cute. I like it. So that's, yeah, where we're going to start. Let's start with the sky. Darken that a little bit. See, you can see the sky's there. It just was dark, or it was too light. So we'll pull that down a little bit. And obviously we want to just apply it where we want it. So we're going to invert that, Control I. And then we will use a brush to paint the darkening back on. Paint that curve layer back, which is exactly what we wanted. I put a little on the window, or the windshield of that truck too. See, it's got beautiful colors working in the gradient, and we can emphasize those. Pretty neat. Shift Control E to compress those layers. I made an action. You don't have to use an action to do it, but I made an action that just throws a whole bunch of filters on there. Let's see, photo filters. And that way you can just not even have to think about it. You just paint what you want where you want it. It's kind of neat. It's a filter, so you're not actually painting color. You're just putting a filter over it. And so I like this turquoise one. We'll use a brush. We've got it set at 4%. So I add a little bit more color there. A little bit of magenta down here. See, it's got some. I'm just adding what it has, just making it a little more emphasized. And orange. Orange always looks cool in the sky because it doesn't actually go on orange. So now we have a really pretty gradient of color right there. Shift Control E, we're going to compress those. What I was saying about the truck, we're going to save a snapshot of this image because we're going to go back to it. And we're going to go to Image, Adjustments, HDR Toning. Now we're just looking at the truck. Do not worry about anything else. Just look at the truck. We're going to add some detail to that. See how it makes that truck just look cool? Change our gamma on it a little bit. Go that way. Yes. Saturation. Saturate it a little bit. Oh, it's going to be so fun. Okay, then hit OK. Now it does do it to the whole image. So what I'm going to do is, after this finishes processing, I'm going to hit Control A to select all. Control C to copy that layer. Now I'm going to go back to my snapshot. See, that's our image. Control V to paste that over the top. Now it's a layer. And I'm going to add a mask, and then I'm going to invert it. Now that's an inverted layer mask. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use a brush right on this, and I'm going to just paint the truck. And I'm just going to do it a little bit, just gradually, just add it where I want it. But you'll see it's just going to make that truck pop. It'll look so cool. Just bring out all that rugged texture in the truck. That's the reason I'm sure that you chose this truck for the photography anyway. It's because it has a lot of cool layers and dimensions, so why not take a moment to just really bring those out? I'm a little jealous. I'd love to have a truck like this to shoot. This looks like fun. Yeah, we're going to just bring that out. Draw it up. There we go. Now you can click on this. You can hit Alt and then click on this, and you can see exactly where we've painted it. And you can also see a little before and after, right? Check that truck out. That looks so cool. Love it. I love it so much. Okay, now I'm going to go over to her head and make sure, I'm going to reverse that brush to make sure that it's not on her hair. Okay. So let's compress those layers. Shift Control E. And let's lighten up her situation. Right? There's our curves. We made it lighter. Control I to invert that. And we're just going to paint that on her. Gotta use a white brush. You hit X and it changes it to white. Now I'm not worried about making the grass lighter. It doesn't need to be. It's fine. We can just, this whole little area right here, make it lighter. See? So we draw our eyes to the subject. And then Shift-Control-E to compress that. And then skin retouching, so we use the frequency separation. It's an action I made that will do that for you. That'll separate those out for you. 2 layers. Texture layer, tone layer. I like doing tone layer first. Use the brush. The flow's at 4%, opacity's at 100. Now see, you can see tan lines right here. So this is where her swimsuit was, and this is her tan. So let's bring that over there. Bring that over there. Let's blend them. Now you can see her collarbone right here, so let's go ahead and just make that whole situation a little light. Right at the top of it a little dark, because we like the collarbones. Collarbones are pretty. And just keep blending this. You don't want to blend it too much. You know, you want to leave some shadows, because that's what makes a person's shape. But you also don't want it to look like a swimsuit. So there we go. That's way better blended. Now let's get to her face. And I'm just, again, just clicking where the color is that I want to use and painting it over there. It doesn't change the texture at all. It just changes the color. Makes the color what we need it to be. And I'm just painting away. Now, everything else is a texture issue. So we'll go to the texture layer and we'll use the clone stamp. And then we will clone some of the skin that's good and paint it over the skin that's not. Okay, and then over here you see more skin issues. We'll just clean those up. And now that those are cleaned up, we will go back and adjust the tone. And I like to zoom out just to see where we're at. Make sure everything looks even from a distance, because that's really what you look at it. Nobody's going to pull it way in and look at it like we do. So even up all this. And you can see a little before and after on the skin. Now, if you feel like you went a little overboard, you can. This is the group. These layers are grouped under here. So you can add a mask to the group and take it off just in one little spot. So like I noticed right here, evened it out a little too much and it took the smile away. Like she's got a little bit of a smirk, which is what made the picture cute. See, so let's make sure that stays. There we go. That's better. So, Shift-Control-E to compress those layers. Let's look at a little before and after so far. This is where we started. That's where we're at now. It's a game changer. It just looks just way more dynamic. So let's adjust the levels. And basically, the levels just give you a little more contrast. It takes any kind of a haze out of the picture. And you just want to do it just a little. See? Just a little. Now, another thing that might be nice to do in this image, because it's looking very square, is to darken edges, almost like we'll use curves. So we'll make a dark curve. Control I to invert that. Just the edges, just to draw your eye. See? Just draws it just a little bit more. Now you look at the overall image. Do we want it to be lighter? Do we like it exactly like it is? I'm thinking maybe the overall image, just give it a little tiny bit of lightening. Just a little. There you go. That looks good. And then finally, because when you open an image in RAW, it hasn't been sharpened even a little. So I always just do like a light sharpening. I usually use high pass for that. So I made an action for that too, but you can make an action or you can just go Control J to duplicate the layer. Other high pass, bring it down real low right here, like, where you can just barely see the lines coming up. Maybe 0.9, maybe even just 0.7, because you can see them. Okay. Overlay. And it doesn't really affect the image much, but it does when you actually go to print it. So Shift Control E to compress those, and you're done. There's your final image.